Welcome back to Dropped In. I am beyond excited to be here today with you and to share my very, very special guest with you, my dear friend, soul sister, and past client, Kristie Crate, with you today. Kristie, welcome. I am so excited for our conversation and to get dropped in with you. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here and happy International Women's Day. We didn't intentionally do this, but it is just pure magic that it worked out this way and this is how we're spending our time today. And yeah, you had asked how I am and I have never been busier and I have never been better. I've never been so full of love. My life has been turned upside down a couple times over again since the last time I spoke with you, because of course I had the baby and yeah, and I'm just so grateful for this life and every opportunity that it brings me.
I love it. And I love you. Oh, yeah, it is absolutely divine to be here on International Women's Day. And you hold a very sacred space in my heart. So before we get dropped in, Kristie is incredible. Like, I don't even know how to put the words to articulate how gifted you are with photography. Like, you just have this incredible vision, this very artistic lens, if you will, and are so gifted with your craft. You are also a registered nurse and a new mama, and honestly, just such a beautiful, bright light. And I thank my lucky stars to have been connected with you years ago. I think it was 5, 6 years ago, and to still have you in my life today. And yeah, I'm just so excited to drop in with you today and to share your beautiful light with our community.
Thank you. Yeah, it was probably closer to 6 years. So I was in my mid 20s. And yeah, I think I just knew I didn't want to keep going on the merry-go-round that I was on, and I didn't know how to get off. And then I stumbled upon your Facebook page, and so grateful I did. And yeah, you had reached out and just said, "Oh, I just," because I think I was liking your things, and I think that's when you had reached out, and I mean, the rest is history.
The rest is history. Yes. Yeah, we worked together one on one. You were in my mastermind, you were in retreats in Costa Rica, and also a photographer for my personal brand and also for our retreat. So, yes, such a gift to have you in my world. So, how does it feel for you to be a new mama? How is this new energy, this new life, if you will?
Well, well, no matter how much you prepare yourself for it, no matter how much healing you think you've done, you're gonna get knocked on your ass. And and I thought, of course, I've worked in as a nurse, I've worked in the nursery. I was like, okay, I got babies, like I got this. I've, worked in other areas of pediatric type things. I've worked in mental health with youth. I was just, yeah, not a worry. I got this. And then when it hits you, oh my goodness. So not only are I did find myself in a bit of a state of like fight or fight for quite a long time. And it was, I think it was one of the quotes that you have told me in the past was excitement is fear without the breath. Am I
Mhm.
saying that right? Yeah.
Fear is excitement without the breath.
Oh, thank you. Got that backwards. But yeah, so I was in excitement, but because it feels so much like fear, it was kind of getting mucked about a little bit. Like it was just, oh, my heart was always just racing. Like I want to keep this little human alive, and you're incredibly sleep deprived, and
Mm.
yeah, but and I know every mom has said this in the past about you just get filled with so much love, but do you ever? And you know what? It's so much love. It actually almost feels similar to grief. You know that wall that hits you when somebody dies, and it just that sound like I make it sound bad, but I mean it in the best way possible because it is so overwhelming, over
Mhm.
joy, over everything that you actually. For me, I didn't even know how to process it. It was just a
Wow.
love I didn't even know. It was a love I didn't even know existed.
Mm. Oh my goodness. I just envisioned like this roller coaster of waves of emotions. And
Yeah.
I'm not a mom. And so I can only imagine what that would feel like. And it's like this new, it's like a deeper, profound sense of love. And I love how you compared it to that grief, because grief does come in waves, and it's like these overwhelming emotions that we didn't even know how to process or that were even available in this energetic space. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And it opened up a lot of mother wounds for me that, again, you think you've done the work, and then oh yeah, then you get knocked on your ass 10 times over again. But and so just a little bit of a history about myself, and I've actually never talked in any public space about my mom before, in any of my mother wounds before. And because I think there was still a little bit of, maybe a little bit of shame, right? Maybe a little bit of, I'm not ready to share my story. And when I do, it's with people that have earned that space. So that's important to acknowledge. But also, I just have never felt like, I always felt it was maybe a little cowardly to say these things, because it would be putting down essentially my mom. But at the same time, I finally feel, and I think, and part of this whole birthing process, I be birthed into a mom, right? So
Mhm.
I now have the strength to stand within myself and know that my story is important. So yeah.
Mm, yeah,
Hmm.
your story is so important. And I love that you're able to discern like when it feels appropriate and aligned for you to be able to share, and really like mother wounds are real, let's be honest. And especially when you bring a baby into the world, I can only imagine how they do resurface. And the fact that you've done the work and are able to share that today, I commend you. So really honoring you for leaning in, and because that is shadow work in itself right there, like no other. And it's easy to not want to see it, or to pretend it's not happening, or to like suppress it.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of courage to run towards it. So I honor you.
Thank you. Yeah. It was tough stuff. And I think what really kind of brought it all around for me was, and I had shared this with you earlier, but it was Christmas time. And I think holidays can be super triggering for everybody on so many levels. And for me in this instance, here I have this beautiful baby boy, so worthy of love and celebration. And here's his first Christmas, right? And so I
Mhm.
was so excited. And when I finally realized my mom wasn't able to match that, and I had this huge awakening within myself that, like, okay, I was once this young little baby worthy of love and worthy of celebration too, and I didn't get that. And I thought for the longest time that, okay, maybe I wasn't worthy of those things, but my baby is, right? So he is. And it was like, no, I was all this time. And yeah, it was just such a huge weight off my shoulders, but also like, it just became not about me anymore. It was this individual was incapable of doing those things and meeting those needs and filling my bucket in the ways that I needed. And yeah, and I was finally able to kind of close the chapter on that and say, okay, like I think that I'm done having that in my life now, because we all, like, my family deserves better. I deserve better, and I deserve to show my children, future children, current child, that yeah, you have to have boundaries. You have to stand up for yourself. And when something's not working for you anymore, that it's okay to walk away, even if that means family or right. And that's
Mhm.
the hardest part is, I think, loving somebody from afar, right? And
Mhm.
as her birthday comes up soon, and it's going to be, another sort of triggering event for me, I know, but I'm planning around it and just sending love in every way that I can, and honoring my space over here and protecting my energy.
Mm. Oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing so openly and transparently.
Mhm.
And so there's so much to dive into here. So when you had this awakening and this awareness that it wasn't about you any longer, like how did you lean into that, and how did you take the initiative to set these boundaries? How was that for you?
It it was both a long time coming, but also heartbreaking. And heartbreaking because, like I said, I finally realized I deserved better. And
Mm.
yeah, I think I think because it has been in the background of my mind for the last 30 some years, it finally just sort of came to fruition that, okay, this is what you need to do. And you can still, you could. And so ultimately, when I say this is what I chose to do, that this being I'm choosing to no longer talk to her. And I think that piece in itself was really difficult because I don't believe in completely cutting people off if you can have boundaries and maintain levels of respect in, when things get pushed too far, you have the confidence within your own voice to say, nope, nope, I've had enough and I'm going to ask you to leave now, or I'm going to leave, or whatever that might look like. But they're just, and I don't know, there wasn't enough joy and love and or any of those things to maintain that relationship anymore. And yeah, and yeah, I just think cutting somebody off is such a hard thing to do for anybody in any relationship, and particularly when it's your parents who you have been seeking their love all your life. And I finally, yeah, it just was like, okay. And I've had, other family members try to guilt me, and, it's, you should talk to her and she needs this and she needs, yeah, absolutely, she does need that. But that doesn't necessarily need to come from me, because I've given everything that I can, and I'm okay with this decision. And I don't, it's not that I don't care, but it doesn't matter that other people aren't okay with it anymore.
Mm. Oh my goodness. I just want to hug you and just give you a big smooch. Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to not only set boundaries, but to withhold boundaries. And especially if someone is not honoring these boundaries, it honestly has nothing to do with you. And I
Mhm.
love that you are able to respect yourself and to respect your family and your energy and your emotional state and your physical state, let's be honest, because it all is connected, to really honor what feels most aligned for you today, as opposed to, I know for me personally, I also have had to set boundaries in my family, and you don't really realize how enmeshed you are into the circus of codependency until you start to really drop in. It's like, no, I am not operating in that level anymore. I'm not subscribing to these patterns of behaviors. And really choosing to set these boundaries takes a lot of freaking courage. And to continue to hold these boundaries and them not being respected is also very frustrating beyond, right?
Mhm.
And so it comes to a time and place where we have to discern, is this relationship serving me or is it not? And so I honor you for really discerning what feels energetically aligned and what doesn't.
Mhm. Thank you. Yeah, it's been it's tough work, but yeah, it just feels so much better once you get through it, get to the other side. It's so much lighter. The world seems brighter.
Mhm.
And now I have more space to hold for my baby and my family and all those things.
Mhm. Yeah. And you're healing on a deep generational
Yeah.
level too, right? Like you're ending the cycle today, which
Hmm.
in itself takes a lot of courage. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
And now your son gets to model this healthy behavior and gets to see what healthy relationships look like as a result from you doing the do, you practicing what you preach, if you will, and being in that space. So, deep bows to you, sister.
Thank you. I have to give a shout out to your girl, Marsha. Remember
Mm.
Marsha?
Oh, I remember Marsha. I just spoke with her.
Did you? Yeah. It was in your guys's podcast, when you guys had talked about with Krista, and when she kind of talked about how you can own your story and it not give power to that story anymore.
Mhm.
That was huge for me as well. So thank you for Marcia and you and Krista for that. I really appreciate that.
Oh, I am wearing a huge, thick, full fleece, and I'm like legit flooded in shivers this entire conversation. So, yeah, Marcia speaks on many things, but it's like learning to stand on your story as opposed to being in it, right? So it's like really reclaiming your power and just being like, I get to choose. Like, own your choices, own your life is what she
Mm.
models, and it's so true. So as a result from setting these boundaries, and I know I can only imagine, and I know from my own personal experience, but I can only imagine the challenges that come from that, and also the external influence with people coming in basically telling you how you should live your life, if you will. How have you been managing that, and how have you been like really advocating for yourself and your family's needs?
Um, to well, to be honest, I when they say what they say, I give myself space to feel, but also feel and have reactions within myself because I'm still processing it a little bit, but
Hmm.
and I kind of feel like I don't have to explain myself to anybody. Like I'm sure that they would appreciate an explanation, but I'm kind of just at the point of I don't want to put any more energy into it, that this is my decision for myself and my family. And so that, and maybe there will come a time where I will be able to have those conversations. But for now, I'm just shutting down the energy leaks, right? Like I just, yeah, no, this is what I'm choosing to do. And, sorry if it affects your life, but this is what I need right now. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
100%. And yeah, and as a result, like all of this energy and time is getting back channeled into you and your family, which is so needed, especially during these first few years of his life. So,
Yeah, totally.
yeah. So, what are some ways that you've been using to support yourself in protecting your energy?
Uh, that is a great question. Um, I mean, apart from like I do some physical stuff, right, with the saging, and I do some Reiki sometimes, but I really think it's just giving space for my own feelings and emotions and allowing them to come up however they do, and recognizing what I have control of and what I don't. And, whether that be through journaling or through conversation or just some deep breathing and being in nature and going for walks and those kinds of things. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Love it. Grounding,
Right. Yeah.
getting back into your body.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if you were to reflect on the younger version of Kristie and, all of the ways that perhaps you would have supported yourself before you began this healing journey and before you really began to honor these boundaries and honor your energy and honor your family and essentially your beliefs and values, how do you like being who you are today and reflecting on old Kristie, the younger version of Kristie, if you will, like what would you say to her?
Mm. Hang in there, girl. It's going to
Mhm.
get so good. So good.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think, like, I was a moody teenager. I listened to moody music, and I was always the one that just kind of sat in my own feelings. And then in my 20s, when I had to work and you couldn't really do that anymore, you had to be an adult, I ate my feelings and suppressed my feelings. And I just think like everything just always seemed so hard. Like everything, what, your big reactions, big feelings, big emotions, and you're trying not to spill it all over everybody because, you don't want to be that girl. You don't want to be the messy one, because society tells you you should be quiet and don't react and don't this and don't that. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I just really think hanging in there, like, because once you get out of your own way, and
Mhm.
right, because isn't that always the case?
Yeah,
We're always in our own way. And when I was finally able to do that, and I one of my favorite conversations that I've ever had with you was, I called you. I was in the parking lot of the grocery store, and I had had headaches for weeks on end. Do you remember this?
I
And
do.
And it was sort of, when you look at my whole life, I think I was 28, maybe 29, 30, I don't know. But everything was sort of just coming to a head of all the things that over the years that I had been ignoring and suppressing. And, you had told me, because I had looked at all the medical reasons why I could potentially be having these headaches and nothing was working. I even had a naturopath say to me, you need a spiritual awakening. And she even like kind of whispered to me, if this doesn't work out, you should try some mushrooms. And I'm like, I don't think that's what I need, but maybe okay. I don't know. And but yeah, and ultimately I remember you saying that, this is your crown chakra opening up. And sure enough, when you finally see what you need to see and how you've been getting in your own way all these years, and then you make the big leap that I did, and it was the scariest thing I ever did. I left a relationship, I bought a house, I didn't know what was going to be on the other side. And lo and behold, within a couple of weeks, I met my now fiance. And, now we have our beautiful son and we have our beautiful family. And it was, in hindsight, looking back, if I would have thought, like, a couple of weeks seems too soon to be going into another relationship, but it wasn't, because I had been mentally ready for a long time. I just didn't take the leap that I needed to. And then when I did, it was just nothing but love and light on the other side.
Mm. Oh my goodness. It's so true. It's so true. I just had like these flashbacks of like really when our journey first began and to see where you are today. It's unbelievable what you have created in such a short amount of time. I remember working with one of my back end office managers assistant, and she was like, explain like your ideal client, or explain like one of your clients' journeys. And without sharing your name, I shared what was like literally where we were when we started and where you are today. And I was just like, holy, like
Mm.
unreal. And like you are the testament to what is possible when you lean in and trust your guidance, right? Like, sure, we're having migraines, we're having headaches, and it's just like going to the doctor and taking the medication to try and, rid ourselves. But if we really drop in and listen to the wisdom that our body speaks, this is where the magic is, right?
Yeah.
But as a society, we aren't taught first and foremost how to feel our emotions. Even as a child on a playground, it's like you fall down, you hurt yourself, it's like, oh, don't cry, you're okay, you're okay. It's like, no,
Right.
cry, allow
Right.
yourself to feel what you're feeling. But as a society, we aren't taught that, so we suppress and repress, and then all of a sudden we're diagnosed with all these different ailments, or our body manifests into the different things. And it's just like, if we really kind of take a moment to step back and reflect of like, what's occurring in my life, what am I not allowing my to see, what am I denying myself of feeling? And when we lean into that, oh,
Mm.
magic. Like this is where the healing resides, right?
Right. Yeah. You want to know something amazing? I have had chronic migraines all of my life, and that was the longest one. This one had the one that when I had called you had lasted, oh, I think it was like 14 weeks, every single day migraine. And I haven't had one since. Yeah. Isn't
Oh
that
my
incredible? The beauty of being aligned in your life, I tell you.
Oh my goodness. That is just, again, full body shiver. Oh, so beautiful. I could
Yeah.
talk to you forever, and I will forever would love to have you back on the podcast. And I cannot wait to see you at your wedding in, I think, a year and a half, is it?
Yeah,
Roughly?
I'm so excited. And I don't know if I shared this with you, but one thing that we're going to do is we have, our sacred vows, and then we're going to do some shadow vows as well. And I didn't come up with this idea. I think
Oh,
the original person that coined it is Rising Woman, Shalina, if you know who that is. She's in BC. So she did that at her wedding, but what a powerful, beautiful thing to sit there, because weddings are often filled with all the joy and the love as they should be, but they don't always recognize the shadow parts of
mm,
relationships that really is equal, right? And that you can't have the love without the shadow parts. You can't, right? It's all about that balance. And so I'm super excited to share that moment with you and everybody else that's going to be there. But
Oh,
yeah.
oh my
And John's a
goodness.
little bit like, oh, great. So I gotta come up with all the things that
Oh,
I'm
I
gonna work
love
on.
John.
Yeah.
We love
And
John. I love that
that's
he's
right.
open to all this. This is so
Yeah.
good. What are the shadow vows? I want to know. Or is it secret?
Okay. Let
You
me
don't have
come.
to share your shadow vows, but give me an example.
Okay, hold on. I gotta pull them up. I'll read you some of. I'll read you a couple of them. So the shadow vows. So I own that I get overwhelmed in conflict, need to take breaks, and I know that feels like abandonment for you, but I promise that I will always come back to it. Is one of them.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I need a
There's one.
blanket. Oh, this is profound. Imagine what all relationships would look like if we chose to take that shadow vow each and every day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we are humans. We're having human experiences here. And so it is so important to honor our shadows and to speak truth into them as opposed to denying them. So
Mm.
this is incredible. I can't wait to be there in person. Run towards your shadows and you'll be set free. You are the testament of that. That's for sure, Kristie. So before we leave, and I don't want to leave, but if someone was wanting to quit or give in or throw in the towel, what is some words of advice that you could give to them?
Mm. The best things in life are on the other side of fear. That's
Mm,
that's my quote for you.
so true. So true.
Mm.
I love it. And I love you. And I'm so, so
Love you.
proud of you. As cliche as it sounds, I'm so proud of you and cannot wait to hug you in real life.
Yes, totally.
Mwah.
What an honor it is to share the space with you. And again, happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day.
Mm.
And until next time, my beautiful friend, we will see you on Dropped In. Thank you so much for dropping in with me today. If you loved this episode, I would be forever grateful if you rated and reviewed. And if you feel called to share it with your community on social media, please tag me so I can thank you personally. Until next time, I will see you on Dropped In.